In the last video, we created a user and the car model, and we've inserted some dummy data into the database. So here I have MySQL Workbench. So we have a bunch of cars in the cars table, and then we have, of course, users in the user table as well. So you can see that the cars belong to these users, and that association has been done by the SQLize ORM, which we installed via npm. Okay, so in this video, we're then going to take a look at the resolvers and what we need to do in order to get the data from the database. So let's open user first. So this is under the resolvers folder. And notice that here we do return models.users, which was the static data set. So what we need to do is something very, very simple. We need to say models, and because we are still adding models to the Apollo server, and this models will be the actual database models, the SQLize models, we can access user on that, and because we have now access to user, we have access to all the SQLize methods, which the one that we used before was create, but we can also use find all, and this is just going to return all the users that we have. So that's done. So let's come back here to user and say models.user.find by primary key, and that is going to be the ID itself. And for now, let's just comment out me. And in fact, I'm going to comment this out here as well, because we will be using me later on to do some login functionality or to add some authentication. But that's in a coming video. So how can we do a mutation? So here we just created this user and then we pushed it to an array. So what do we need to do here? Well, we need to call models.user.create and then pass in the user itself. And there's one more thing that we need to modify here. We don't need the ID to be added as an argument, because the ID is automatically generated for us by MySQL and by SQLize. This also means that we need to open the type definition for user and make sure for the mutation for the user we are not passing in an ID. So we're not making that, a required field. So let's save the schema and let's continue with the resolver. So we have remove user. So all this code can go away from remove user, and we can replace this by saying return models.user.destroy, and then we need to pass in a where statement to destroy, and where the ID is this ID that we pass in as an argument to remove user. And then the last thing here is this custom resolver function. So what we need to do here is return models.car, because we are looking for the car now, right? So find all, and we want to find all the cars where the user ID is equal to parent.id. So where does this user ID come from? Remember that when we take a look at the table cars, there is a user ID column that was automatically added by SQLize. So that is the column that we are referencing here, and then we pass in parent.id, which is going to be the user object ID property. So let's save this. Let's go back to our playground and see if this is going to work. So here I have the playground open, and let's try to query for users and get their names. And here we go. So we do have this information working. We could also add ID to it, and now we get that information back. So now this information is coming back from the database itself. So this is a great achievement. Now, as always, you will have a homework or something to think about at least. So what I would like you to do is to recreate the car resolver so that it resolves the data from the database as well.